All right, let's talk about something real for a second. You ever notice how some women just have that effect on men? Like there's something about them that keeps a guy completely hooked, thinking about them nonstop, craving their presence, their touch, their energy. It's like a spell has been cast, and no matter what he does, he just can't shake her from his mind. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Isn't that just about looks? Isn't it about being super hot or having some kind of crazy skills in bed? Nope, not even close. Because let me tell you something. Sexual attraction isn't just about the physical. It's about the mental, the emotional, the energetic. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who, on paper, wasn't even your type physically, but something about them just drew you in? Maybe it was their confidence. Maybe it was the way they spoke, the way they carried themselves, the way they made you feel seen in a way no one else did. That's because true attraction is a full body experience. It's not just about what a guy sees. It's about what he feels when he's around you. And if you want to make a guy sexually addicted to you, if you want to be the woman he craves on a level he doesn't even fully understand, then you have to tap into something deeper. You have to create an experience, one that stays with him long after you've left the room. That's what we're going to talk about today, because making a man obsessed with you isn't about chasing him, trying too hard, or being someone you're not. It's about understanding the subtle, powerful shifts that make a man need you, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, energetically. So if you're ready to become the woman he can't stop thinking about, if you're ready to understand how to tap into that next level attraction that goes beyond looks or chemistry, let's break this down. I'm about to share with you 4 powerful keys that make a man crave you in a way that's almost irrational. Because when you master these things, he won't just want you, he'll feel like he can't live without you. The power of anticipation, desire thrives in space. That's something most people don't realize. They assume that the more they give, the more available they make themselves, the more a man will want them. But the truth is, attraction isn't built through constant presence. It's built through anticipation. It's that electric feeling of almost getting what you want, but not quite. That tension, that uncertainty, that feeling of being right on the edge of something amazing. It's Think about the last time you were really excited about something. Maybe it was a vacation you had planned for months, a new outfit you couldn't wait to wear, or a text from someone that made your stomach flip. What made it so thrilling? It wasn't the moment itself. It was the build-up, the waiting, the wondering, the imagining. And then, when the moment finally arrived, it felt even better than it would have if you had just gotten it instantly. That's how attraction works. And when it comes to making a man crave you, understanding the power of anticipation is everything. Because here's what most women do. They meet a guy, they like him, and they want to make sure he knows they like him. So they text him all the time. They always say yes to seeing him. They make themselves available whenever he wants. They try to lock it down as quickly as possible because they're afraid that if they don't, he'll lose interest. But that's not how it works. The more predictable you are, the less exciting you become. That's not to say you should play games or be distant for the sake of it, but you do need to create a sense of excitement, of curiosity, of not quite knowing what's coming next. That's what keeps a guy engaged. That's what keeps him thinking about you when you're not around. One of the biggest mistakes people make in relationships is over-giving too soon. Imagine you're watching a TV show, and in the very first episode, they tell you everything that's going to happen in the season. They reveal every twist, every turn, every surprise. Would you still be excited to watch the rest? Probably not. The reason you keep watching is because you don't know what's coming. You're intrigued. You're invested. You're left wondering what happens next. It's the same in relationships. If you give everything away too soon, if you lay all your cards on the table right away, there's nothing left to discover. No mystery, no intrigue, no reason for him to keep chasing. And here's the thing, men are wired to pursue. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about letting the relationship unfold naturally instead of rushing to the finish line. Now, let's talk about how you actually create anticipation in a way that feels authentic. One of the most powerful ways to do this is through delayed gratification. That means not always saying yes immediately, not always being the one to initiate plans, not responding to texts the second they come in. Not because you're trying to play a game, but because you're genuinely busy living your life. Men are naturally drawn to women who have their own thing going on. A woman who isn't just waiting around for a guy to text back, a woman who has her own passions, her own plans, her own excitement outside of him. When a man sees that you're fully engaged in your own life, it creates a sense of curiosity. He starts wondering, what is she up to? Who is she with? What's keeping her so busy? And that wondering, that's the magic. That's what keeps his mind on you. Because you're not handing him your attention on a silver platter. You're making him earn it. And when someone has to earn something, they value it so much more. Another powerful way to create anticipation is through small, intentional moments of intimacy. When you're with him, be fully present, make eye contact, laugh at his jokes, touch his arm lightly when you're talking, but then pull back. Let there be space. End the date while things are still fun and exciting, not when they start to feel routine. A lot of women make the mistake of thinking that if a guy likes them, he should want to be with them all the time. And while that might seem romantic, it actually has the opposite effect. When someone is always available, when they're always around, their presence starts to feel expected rather than desired. But when someone leaves just before the moment fully peaks, when they create just a little bit of distance, it leaves the other person wanting more. This is why the most powerful relationships are the ones where there's a rhythm of closeness and space. Think of it like music. If a song was just a constant unbroken note, it wouldn't be interesting. It's the pauses that make the music come alive. The silence between the beats, the tension that builds before the next note plays. That's what creates emotion. That's what keeps you listening. In relationships, the same principle applies. If you're always available, always responding instantly, always there the second he needs you, you become predictable. And predictability kills excitement. But when there's a little space, a little uncertainty, a little bit of what is she thinking? When will I see her again? Does she miss me as much as I miss her? That's when anticipation builds. That's when attraction deepens. Now, this doesn't mean you should be distant or unresponsive. It doesn't mean you should manipulate him or make him feel insecure. What it does mean is that you should be mindful of how much access you're giving. It means you should pace things instead of rushing. It means you should let moments unfold naturally instead of forcing them. And perhaps most importantly, it means you should trust in your own value. Women who know their worth don't feel the need to overgive, to over-explain, to overcompensate. They don't try to convince a man to want them. They simply live their lives in a way that makes a man want to be a part of it. Think of the women you admire most, the ones who exude confidence and charm effortlessly. They don't chase. They don't cling. They don't beg for attention. They simply exist in their own magnetic energy, and in doing so, they draw people in without even trying. That's the energy you want to embody, because when you do, men will naturally start anticipating you. They'll start wondering when they'll hear from you next. They'll start looking forward to the next time they see you. They'll start craving your presence. Not because you're making yourself scarce on purpose, but because they can feel that you're a woman who isn't dependent on anyone else for her happiness. And when a man senses that, when he sees that you're fully in control of your own joy, that you're living your life in a way that excites you, he won't just want to be with you, he'll need to be. Because nothing is more addictive than a woman who doesn't need to be chased but still leaves a trail worth following. Emotional and intellectual attraction is key. When people talk about attraction, they often focus on the physical. They think it's about looks, body language, chemistry, all the external surface level things. And while those things matter, they're not what make a man truly addicted to you. Physical attraction might spark initial interest, but if you want to make a man crave you in a way that goes beyond fleeting desire, You have to tap into something deeper. Men might be visual creatures, but the thing that makes them stay, the thing that keeps them thinking about a woman long after she's left the room, is how she makes them feel intellectually and emotionally. A guy can be with the most stunning woman in the world, but if she doesn't stimulate his mind, if she doesn't engage him in a way that challenges him, excites him, or makes him feel something deeper, the attraction fades fast. Think about the people who have had the biggest impact on your life. Chances are it's not just because of how they looked, it's because of how they made you feel. Maybe they made you laugh in a way no one else could. Maybe they had a way of seeing the world that opened up something new inside you. Maybe they made you feel understood, like they truly got you in a way no one else did. That's what creates real attraction. That's what keeps someone coming back for more. And if you want to make a man sexually addicted to you, you have to engage him on more than just a physical level. You have to make him crave your mind just as much as your body. One of the biggest turn-ons for men that no one talks about is intellectual chemistry. When a woman can hold a conversation that keeps a man on his toes, when she can challenge him in a way that excites him rather than threatens him, when she can make him think, that's when things start to shift. Because men don't just want a woman who is beautiful. They want a woman who is intriguing. Intrigue is what makes someone irresistible. It's what makes a man lie in bed at night, replaying your conversation in his head, wondering what you'll say next time, thinking about how he can impress you just as much as you impress him. When a man feels like you stimulate him intellectually, he'll start craving your presence in a way that goes beyond just physical attraction. Now, this doesn't mean you have to be some kind of genius or have deep philosophical debates every time you talk to him. What it does mean is that you should bring more to the table than just your looks. Be interested in things, have opinions, ask thought-provoking questions, share perspectives that make him pause and think. When you do this, you're not just another woman he's attracted to. You become someone who stands out, because the truth is, a lot of men aren't used to women who make them think. They're used to surface level conversations, the same old small talk, the same predictable flirting. But when a woman comes along who has depth, who makes him want to listen just as much as he wants to talk, it throws him off in the best way possible. And here's where things get interesting. When a man feels intellectually challenged, when he feels like he's learning something from you, it builds tension. It creates an energy between you that makes everything, including the sexual attraction, 10 times more intense. Think about the difference between instant gratification and delayed gratification. If you hand a man everything on a silver platter, if you agree with everything he says, if you make yourself completely predictable, if you never challenge his opinions or bring anything new to the conversation, it's like eating fast food. You'll enjoy it in the moment, but it won't leave a lasting impression. But when you give him just enough, when you make him work for the connection, when you leave him wanting more, that's when he starts to crave you. That's when he starts to feel like you're irreplaceable, because you're not just another woman, you're an experience. Now, emotional connection is just as important as intellectual attraction. Because here's the thing, a man can be fascinated by your mind, but if he doesn't feel emotionally connected to you, the attraction will always have a ceiling. Emotional connection is what turns physical desire into something deeper, more lusting, more addictive. And what makes a man feel emotionally connected? It's how you make him feel about himself when he's around you. If he feels understood, if he feels safe, if he feels like he can open up to you without judgment, if he feels like you see him in a way that other people don't, that's when he starts to form an attachment. That's when he starts to feel like he needs you in his life, not just wants you. This is why being a great listener is such an underrated skill. Most people listen just so they can respond. But if you listen in a way that makes a man feel truly heard, if you pay attention to the little things he says and bring them up later, if you show that you remember details about him that most people overlook, it creates an emotional imprint. And here's where the real power comes in. When a man starts associating you with feeling good, when he starts linking you to feeling seen, feeling understood, feeling mentally and emotionally stimulated, he won't be able to get enough of you. It's no longer just about physical attraction at that point. It's about something much deeper. The mistake most people make in relationships is that they try to be liked rather than being impactful. They try to be easygoing, agreeable, non-threatening, but real attraction isn't built on agreement. It's built on energy, depth, and the ability to create moments that feel unforgettable. If a man always knows exactly what you're going to say, if every conversation feels the same, if you never bring any contrast to the dynamic, he won't feel that emotional pull toward you. But when you bring something unexpected, whether it's humor, a unique perspective, a way of seeing the world that surprises him, it keeps him engaged. It makes him want to understand you more. It makes him invested in the connection because he starts to feel like you're different. And here's the most important part. Men don't just become addicted to women. They become addicted to the way a woman makes them feel. If you make him feel excited, if you make him feel alive, if you make him feel like his mind and heart are being engaged in a way that doesn't happen with anyone else, he'll be hooked. Because true addiction doesn't come from something that's easily available. It comes from something that feels rare, valuable, and irreplaceable. And when you understand how to connect with a man's mind and heart, not just his body, you become the one woman he can't stop thinking about. Sensory seduction, the art of leaving a mark attraction, isn't just about how you look, it's about how you make someone feel. And one of the most powerful ways to create an irresistible pull between you and a man is through sensory seduction. This is the art of making an impression that lingers, of engaging his senses in a way that makes you unforgettable. Because here's the thing, a man might be attracted to a woman's beauty, but what makes him crave her is the experience of being around her. Think about the moments in your life that stand out the most. Maybe it was a song that instantly took you back to a certain night. Maybe it was a scent that reminded you of someone you once loved. Maybe it was the way someone's touch sent a spark through your entire body. Those memories weren't just about what happened, they were about how they felt. They were about how your senses were engaged in a way that left a mark on you. That's what you want to create with a man. You want to be the woman who lingers in his mind long after you've left the room. You want to be the scent he catches in the air and instantly thinks of you, the voice that echoes in his mind at random moments, the touch he can still feel even when you're not around. That's what sensory seduction is all about. Let's start with the power of scent. This might seem like a small detail, but it's one of the most powerful tools of attraction. A signature scent can be intoxicating. It's why people remember the perfume their first love wore, or the way their favorite person smelt when they hugged them. Scent is linked to memory and emotion in a way that few other things are. If you have a fragrance that's uniquely you, something soft and inviting but not overpowering, it creates a subconscious connection in his mind. Every time he smells it, whether it's on you or somewhere else, it brings him back to you. And it's not just about perfume, it's about how your skin smells, how your hair carries the scent of your shampoo, how your presence leaves something behind, even after you walk away. This doesn't mean drenching yourself in fragrance, it means having a subtle, consistent scent that becomes part of your identity, something he'll notice, something he'll miss when it's gone. Now, let's talk about touch. Touch is one of the most powerful ways to create intimacy. But here's the secret. The most seductive touch isn't the obvious one. It's the barely there touch. It's the moment when your hand brushes against his without fully touching. It's the way you let your fingers linger just a second longer than expected when you hand him something. It's the light touch on his arm when you laugh at something he said. It's the small moments that feel almost accidental but send a shiver down his spine. Men don't just respond to touch, they crave the anticipation of touch. If you're constantly in his personal space, always hugging him, always making contact, it loses its effect. But if you create moments where he wants to be closer, where he notices every little interaction, that's when he starts paying attention. That's when he starts feeling the pull toward you in a way that's almost subconscious. And then there's the power of voice, the way you speak, the rhythm of your words, the warmth in your tone. It all matters. A voice can be calming, exciting, intriguing. It can create an emotional response before a man even realizes what's happening. If you rush through your words or speak in a monotone, it doesn't create an experience. But if you slow down, if you play with your tone, if you let your voice have a natural rhythm, it draws people in. A man might not remember every word you say, but he'll remember how your voice made him feel. Think about how some people's voices instantly put you at ease, while others make your heart race. That's not an accident. It's about the energy behind the words. If you speak with confidence, with warmth, with a touch of playfulness, it becomes part of it becomes something he wants to hear more of. Now, eye contact. This is where real magic happens. Most people underestimate the power of holding someone's gaze, but eye contact is one of the most intimate forms of connection, and when done right, it creates an intensity that's impossible to ignore. It's the difference between a casual glance and a moment that feels electric. When you lock eyes with a man and hold that gaze for just a second longer than expected, it sends a message. It says, I see you, I'm here, I'm fully present with you in this moment, and that's rare. In a world where people are constantly distracted, constantly looking at their phones, constantly avoiding deep connection, a woman who can hold a man's gaze with confidence is magnetic. But here's the real secret. It's not just about looking. It's about what you communicate with your eyes. If your gaze is warm, inviting, playful, it creates a sense of safety and intrigue at the same time. If you let a small, knowing smile play at your lips while looking at him, it creates tension. It makes him wonder what you're thinking. It makes him want to be closer to you, to understand you, to unravel the mystery you create just by being fully present. And then there's the power of contrast. If you want to be truly unforgettable, you can't be just one thing. You have to be a mix of things. You have to be soft and strong, playful and deep, confident but inviting. It's the contrast that makes people interesting. If you're always the same, if you never shift between different energies, there's nothing for him to get hooked on. But if you can be both the woman who makes him laugh and the woman who looks him dead in the eyes and makes him lose his train of thought, that's what makes you addictive. Men don't just fall for a woman because she looks good. They fall because she feels different from anyone else they've met. They fall because she engages their senses in a way that keeps them thinking about her long after she's gone. And here's the best part. None of this is about changing who you are. It's not about playing a role or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about fully embracing the unique presence that you already have. It's about being aware of how you move through the world, how you engage with people, how you make them feel in your presence. Because the women who leave the biggest impact, they're not the loudest, the flashiest, or the most traditionally beautiful. They're the ones who make people feel something real. They're the ones who create moments that stick. They're the ones who understand that true attraction isn't about getting someone's attention for a moment. It's about creating an experience they can't forget. And when you do that, when you master the art of sensory seduction, that's when a man doesn't just want you. That's when he needs you. That's when he becomes addicted, not just to the way you look, but to the way you exist in his world. Confidence and the energy you bring. If there's one thing that makes a man crave you in a way that never fades, it's the energy you bring into a room. Listen, confidence isn't about being loud. It's not about being the most outgoing or even the most conventionally attractive. Confidence is about how comfortable you are in your own skin. When a woman knows she's desirable, not because of how she looks, but because of how she carries herself, it's intoxicating. It's the way she can sit in silence and still hold his attention. It's the way she doesn't need validation, but when she gives it, it means something. It's the way she walks into a room and owns her space, not by demanding attention, but by simply being comfortable in her own presence. When a woman radiates that kind of self-assuredness, it creates a pull that's impossible to resist. Because ultimately, Men don't just become addicted to women, they become addicted to the way a woman makes them feel about themselves. Making a guy sexually addicted to you isn't about being the hottest woman he's ever been with. It's not about doing something crazy in bed or playing mind games. It's about creating an experience that he doesn't want to live without. When you master anticipation, emotional connection, sensory seduction, and confidence, you become unforgettable. You become the woman he craves, not just in the moment, but in a way that lingers. A woman he doesn't just want, but one he needs.